Today we're going to talk about community integration and the way that it has improved from the olden days. Community integration has come a long way. First, we need to discuss what a community is. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, community is a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common. It is also a feeling of fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. There are three common elements in integration. 1. A relationship with others. 2. Independence in one's living situation. And 3. Activities to fill one's time. For example, occupation, social support, and independent living. I love this quote about inclusion. I think it sums up what we're talking about perfectly. So it's about inclusion. You can't be included unless you are present, and you can't be present unless you are able to get there. Inclusion happens when you start breaking down barriers. Unfortunately, this is an example of what an institution looked like in the olden days. This is what people were given. People with disabilities had no opportunities, especially in the community settings. They were isolated. In the 1960s and 70s, they started to move people from institutions into smaller communities. And then, as time elapsed, people were placed in the least restrictive environment, hopefully. Now, there is complete inclusion based on the choices of the students and the participants, of course. A brief quote from our text says, "In general, the concept of community integration extends beyond self-care and physical function to include engagement in expected vocational, social, and community roles." So people need to feel that they have a responsibility in the community, in their jobs, not just to be in the community, but to really be a part of the community and really to give what they have to help others. So you may be wondering what inclusion is, but I'm going to tell you what it's not first. So first, it is not clustering people with disabilities into one home, one classroom, workplace, or social center. It's not giving special privileges to them or feeling sorry for people with disabilities. That's absolutely not what inclusion is. Here are some examples of what inclusion is. Community inclusion could be having a man who's blind sing in his church choir, or a man with cerebral palsy who got a local office job and goes out to lunch with his coworkers and boss regularly. Another example would be a boy with Down syndrome completing all the ranks for the Boy Scout Eagle Scout Award. So as you can see, all of these are wonderful accomplishments, and they help the community greatly. So community inclusion is more about having everybody have an equal opportunity to participate in the things that the community is offering. So next I'm going to discuss the 4 basic models of community integration that's in rehabilitation literature. So the first one is functional independence model. And this is achieved through functional independence in environments external to institutions. So basically anything out of the institutions. Second is the acculturation model. So it implies that the person with a disability is able to bring unique aspect in a larger community. So it's not the small, tight-knit community yet. So the normalization model is to achieve participation with the community in the normal amount, settings, and activities. Then the fourth is the subjective experience model. And this is where the person with the disability is an active partner in planning, implementing, and evaluating all the community services. And this one is actually the preferred method for people with disabilities because it allows them to have their rights and to be proactive decision makers, which is what anybody wishes for, really. Now we're going to talk about certain disabilities. So the first one we're going to talk about is mental health. So 1 in 4 people are affected by mental health problem in any year. That is so high. So the book tells us some skills that we need to know in order to help these people. So the most important things to community integration for people with mental illness are: 1, their opportunities to attain goals and achieve a sense of accomplishment, and 2, to develop peer relationships. There are some barriers that they perceive, and these are the lack of individual being prepared for adult life, the difficulties the individual has in forming relationships, and the stigma attached to having a mental illness. There are a lot of support groups. In fact, there's strength-oriented services and opportunities for skill development anywhere in the community. These are offered through community education classes, adult education classes. There's so many opportunities in the community education that need to be taken advantage of. They're there, and that's what they're there for. They also have supportive mentoring relationships. So there's lots of people who can help them. We need to just be able to find those people and to bring them into the community settings so that they can help those who do have these mental health problems. Next is individuals with stroke and traumatic brain injury. So we learned that there are several areas of community support for people with these kinds of injuries. There's medical services, dental service, social activities, and housing. And they felt that they were more integrated in social activities and housing. So they were more marginalized in areas of dental service and work activity, which is kind of interesting. So a study shows that even if people aren't able to work out in the community, they need to be able to have some kind of alternative so that they can be pursuing something and they can have goals and they can be contributing to something. The last section we're going to talk about today is the individuals with intellectual disabilities. So studies show that those with intellectual disabilities need to focus on increased functional skills, such as social interaction safety, dining etiquette, money management, and enhancing their social relationships, those people around them. And interestingly enough, the correlation between their community skills, their daily living skills, and social skills were definitely shown in the way that they were able to interact in the community and to be integrated. So by giving them those skills, by helping them learn the money, the safety, dining etiquette, all those things, that will help them be integrated into the community even more.